Good evening, everybody. It's David Schlotthauer here with another important update on this snowstorm that still looks to develop across the Deep South. Will travel into the eastern seaboard through the weekend. How much snow could the Deep South and the eastern seaboard see out of this snowstorm? And then how much ice could accumulate with this winter storm all the way from Texas into the southeastern United States, as freezing rain could be another issue with this winter storm. So to start off this video, here's a look at the latest geocolor satellite imagery. This is the GOES 16 looking at the entire United States. Pretty cool image that NOAA provides here. These update every 5 minutes, and as we look at the imagery across the west, all eyes are on this weather system that's bringing the strong, damaging offshore Santa Ana wind, Diablo wind event across California, moving across Nevada, and this is almost a cutoff low. This is an inside slider that's retrograding, but this is going to be the same weather system that's going to be moving into Texas over the next couple of days, and this is going to trigger our next winter storm that could bring quite a bit of snowfalls for some locations, including the risk for maybe about a quarter to a half an inch of ice across the Deep South, and then maybe something bigger coming up for the weekend over the eastern seaboard. More on that in our weather model department. But now, when we do take a look at our current weather alerts from the National Weather Service across the United States, there is a lot going on. First off, we have a lot of strong, powerful, dangerous, extreme winds going on across Southern California, Southern Nevada, Northwestern Arizona, where we have high wind advisories, high wind warnings, and critical to extreme fire danger in Southern California. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center has issued a extreme fire weather risk across much of the mountainous terrain of Southern California in Ventura County as well as Los Angeles County due to extreme fire danger. But for the Deep South, it's a whole different story, as the National Weather Service here has issued winter storm watches out for northeastern Texas, southeastern Oklahoma, northern Louisiana, most of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and the western tip of Tennessee. So now, with that being said, everyone is curious about this developing snow and ice storm beginning on Thursday. We've talked about this over the last few days in my previous videos, how this is going to be the next winter storm that everyone is monitoring, including myself. This could be making news headlines by the weekend as this moves into the eastern seaboard. My sister, by the way, got 18 plus inches of snow with the last recent snowstorm that is now moving offshore. So yes, this goes to show you that, yeah, this is a very active pattern that we're dealing with. So looking at Thursday morning here on the European model, the ECMWF, this is what we're watching, this upper level low pressure disturbance here moving into Southern California now. That's triggering the offshore damaging extreme wildfire event that we're witnessing right now. This is going to be moving into Texas, that same upper level disturbance by Thursday morning, and on the right front quadrant of this, we're going to have lift in the atmosphere, and that's going to help to increase the moisture over the middle of Texas. So once we go into, say, Thursday afternoon, this system really does develop. Now, some of you recently that made a comment in my last video saying that this system's not going to be very significant at all. David's hyping up stuff. He's doing this to get views. He's doing this for the heck of it. We need to understand that significant in itself is not just the snow. There could be some ice with this, where we're talking some heavy rainfall down across the Deep South here, and the risk for some gusty winds too. And once this gets into the southeast, it could become more snowier. So I want to make that clear in today's video. And some of you also having a hard time seeing the map here. For reference, this is actually Texas down here, okay? And this is Louisiana over here, okay? So now, moving the clock forward now all the way into, say, Friday morning, yeah, look at the dark blue on your screen. That is some decent snowfall where the transition line happens. So like central Arkansas, southeastern Oklahoma, this northeastern Texas area, yeah, for your morning commute on Friday could certainly be impacted here with some heavy snowfall and even some freezing rain. Where this purple area here is, yeah, that's freezing rain and sleet that you're going to need to be pretty weary of when you wake up in the morning and start your morning commute, and allow extra time to get to your destination. As we go throughout Friday, late morning, early afternoon on the Euro, yeah, there's going to be snow here, not quite as heavy, but that doesn't mean that, it's not a significant snowstorm at all. Remember, we got to understand that this is pretty far south. This is in northern Georgia. This is in northern Alabama. And does this get any further south? Does the surface low get further south and we're able to bring snow down even lower in latitude? We'll see about that, okay? But long story short, this blue area right in here is the area that's going to see some light to moderate snowfall and some impacts on the roadways, okay? We saw what happened to our last ice storm that did not end very well. A lot of power outages still, some people killed in that snowstorm and winter storm. Yeah, you just don't underestimate models and think that I've been through many of these, I can get through this one, because every winter storm is different, okay? Not trying to scare you here, it's a learning curve, okay? And by Saturday morning, so by Friday night into early Saturday, there's your winter storm. Now, what happens to this remains a little bit of uncertainty. It's because of the structure of this trough. If this is positively tilted, we get more flow like this, and it kind of allows the system to exit freely offshore. But if this becomes more neutrally tilted and then maybe more negatively tilted, this trough that comes off of, say, Texas could get wrapped and caught and actually bring in some decent snow over the Northeast. So there are a couple of scenarios here that do look possible, okay? And the good outcome of this is on the Euro, showing not much of a nor'easter at all. But I want to remind you all, Delaware, New Jersey, if you're in Maryland, like Norfolk, Newport News, keep in mind, my sister lives in Easton, Maryland, and she got 16 to 18 inches of snow. Yeah, previously the models were thinking maybe 12 inches, but see, models are forecasts. They are not actually what's going to end up happening, okay? The atmosphere is really complex, and simply what we're looking at here is a mathematical equation of an image, okay? A grid space. So based on this point of the forecast, how will that change over time? Okay, if that makes sense. So looking at the GFS model, what does the GFS do with this? How does it handle it? It's a little bit more aggressive with the snow over Oklahoma, a little further north here, and this would be for Thursday night, so for your evening commute. Certainly to stay tuned for the forecast here, because there's going to be rain down to the south. We know that for a fact. Most of the ensembles, or pretty much all of them, keep Houston clear of any ice or any snow. So good news for Houston, just going to be a rain event. But areas like Dallas, Fort Worth could get some snow. That's a populated area, and much of southeastern Oklahoma. We got to keep that in mind, okay? Even so, this is light snow. Light snow could also cause problems for people that don't see it very frequently, like across the northern tier of the United States. You're used to that. But areas further south here, you guys are not used to this very much, okay? So this is for Friday morning for your morning commute. And again, like the Euro showed, Arkansas getting a lot of impacts here with heavy snow, like Little Rock. If you're in Fayetteville, Arkansas, if you're in say Jacksonville, Mississippi, you're on that rain snow line, okay? And the I-10 corridor gonna get some pretty intense rainfall down there too with that surface low that develops. But again, how does this interact with the trough, and how is this gonna all evolve? Right now, the GFS is a little bit more aggressive still with the outcome versus the European model, showing a more heavier, more significant snowstorm for New Jersey, for southern New Jersey, or actually this would be for most of New Jersey, for Maryland, for Delaware, and even for Virginia, especially central and eastern Virginia. As the system amplifies a little bit more, you can get more snowfall out of that. And then this is that nor'easter. How close does this get? So there is room for error here. This is slightly more than 4 days out. This is specifically about 4.5 days out. And the forecast could still change pretty quickly because it all depends on how the trough across the west right now evolves. And what other factors come into alignment on how this trough reshapes with eastward extent. So here's a look at the GDPS, and a lot of you were, or a couple of you, saying meteorologists only use mainly one model. No, we are going to use 3 different global computer models because we need to see the different outcomes here, all right? I cannot use one specific global computer model because if I do, people come to me and say, why do you not use the Euro, David? Why do you not use the Canadian? So we need to be fair and square here, and we should be looking at 3 different model solutions, right? Every model has their own way of forecasting, and that's why we use different models in this case. So this is one of them. This is the Canadian GDPS model. This is the more aggressive model, but it is not showing a nor'easter for the Northeast, and I'll show you that here in a second. But this is for Friday early morning. Very aggressive on the ice and the sleet, though, and that's a concern here. I think that GDPS is overdoing it substantially. I don't think we're going to get significant icing here, but some ice is anticipated nonetheless. And then, of course, your snow across Oklahoma and Arkansas, like Little Rock, get some sleet and snow, a wintry mix there briefly, but still showing the same exact track here. Lots of snow, lots of problems here in the deep south. And then this moves into the eastern seaboard where it might try to amplify. You can see here lesser snow over New Jersey, Delaware, and Virginia versus a GFS model, but more in line with what the Euro is showing. And so most of the consensus over the last few runs have shifted this much further south. So it does not look like right now for the time being that the Northeast is going to see a nor'easter. But that's not to say that things could shift right back to the north and maybe a foot of snow could still be possible for the New York City metro area. Okay, because a couple of you said in my, made comments on my video, said, dude, what you hyping up about with this winter storm? Keep in mind that video was out at 6:30 last night. So if you click on this video, and this video will be out about 5:30 to 6 o'clock tonight, Pacific Standard Time. So when you watch this video at midnight, the forecast may have changed. So I'm really hoping I did a really good job at clearing out the confusion with what we're looking at here on our numerical global computer models. Remember, everything is done mathematically, okay? They're mathematical models, complex equations, square root this, calculus. It's just very complex numerical form that the supercomputers run this through and simulate what may end up happening, okay? So here's a look at the total snowfall on the Euro model. This is what the Euro thinks. And again, yeah, may not be significant up here, maybe 2 to 4 inches of snow across Ohio, Pennsylvania. But yeah, down here in northeastern Texas into Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and westernmost Tennessee, yeah, that's 6+ inches of snow, and some areas here could get up to a foot of snow. Yeah, this narrow corridor, maybe up to a foot of snowfall out of this winter storm. Yeah, that I would call that significant given the time of the year that we're in and given the latitude. And yeah, actually that's 15 inches, so a foot and a half maybe out of this model for southwestern Arkansas. Yeah, that's a lot of snow. Now, when we look at the GFS model, it is looking a lot lesser, maybe about 6 to 10 inches of snow in Arkansas. Northeastern Texas, if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow. Southeastern Oklahoma, maybe 9 inches. Northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, as well as southwestern Tennessee, maybe 6 inches. But yeah, look at the Northeast here. Maybe a dusting, maybe an inch or 2 of snow versus a few model runs ago, maybe 2 or 3 feet of snow up there. See, one model may say this, one model may say that. This is still a fluid situation, and expect downtrends and uptrends with time depending on the track of this winter storm and how amplified it gets. All right, I want to make that clear in this video. The GDPS, the Canadian model, also pretty aggressive, especially in the northern Texas, the Arklatex area, looking at anywhere between 6 to maybe 12 inches of snow. Some areas here, like I mentioned, could get all the way up to maybe 14 to 16 inches of snow. That's about a foot to maybe a foot and a half. And while that may not seem much, that's a lot for this latitude. This is pretty low. I mean, if you draw a line, that's like Southern California in relatively. So for a lot of people that are not used to seeing a foot and a half of snow, this is a significant snowfall maker. Okay, and while the Northeast is not seeing any snow on this model, don't get upset and desperate that, oh man, we're not going to get snow now. I know a lot of you are snow lovers out there, but think of this as a good thing. There's a football game. I forgot who's playing, and it's on Saturday. And a lot of you may want to go to that game. And if it's snowing, you may be upset that you don't get to see your favorite players there. So I just want to make that clear that, yeah, maybe it's good that there's not a whole lot of snow for the Northeast. But other locations, nonetheless, do see a significant snowstorm. All right. And it looks like our ice thing broke here. So there's a look at the freezing rain now popped up here on the Euro. We're looking at anywhere between about 1/10 to maybe 1/4 of an inch of ice. That's enough to lead to some power disruption problems in central Texas, as well as maybe the Carolinas, northern Georgia, maybe northern Alabama may get 1/10 of an inch or less, and then southern Arkansas maybe a few hundredths of an inch. GFS model not as aggressive with the freezing rain amounts over central Texas, which is good. We don't want another comical ice event, but nonetheless, you might see a little bit of accumulation here and there, maybe between about 5/100ths of an inch to 1/10 of an inch based on the GFS, but more classically favored here in the Carolinas, where you might get all the way up to maybe, say, 1/10 of an inch to maybe 1/4 of an inch of freezing rain, that ice accumulation that leads to power outages like we are seeing in the Midwest. Still going on. We're still getting reports of additional power outages because the ice hasn't melted just yet. Now, the more aggressive model, again, please take this with a grain of salt. This, I don't even know why I'm showing this, but I'm showing this because of the realm of possibility. Let's just say this is an outlier. This is a fantasy, crazy land output from the model, from the Canadian. And this is showing us between 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice. In some instances, this is up to an inch of ice in southern Arkansas. This would be devastating all the way into Georgia, Alabama, and the Carolinas. So I want to make that clear. This is more likely an outlier, but how I see this is as long as it's in the model, there is always a possibility. Sometimes the Canadian is onto something over the Euro and GFS, and sometimes the GFS wins the war with these type of winter storms that develop in the deep south. But anyways, if you found this video really helpful, detailed, and informative, please don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel to get latest updates here as I do continue to track this winter storm as it develops across the deep south. This is a big winter storm that we will have to watch in days to come, as it could produce quite a bit of snowfall, ice, and also some sleet, along to go with some gusty winds. But you can only do that if you do subscribe, hit the bell notification icon to get all of my notifications, hit the like button, and also share this video with your family and friends on social media. As always, have a great rest of your Tuesday here in the home weather office. Make today a great day. I will catch you in the next video tomorrow.